All right. Are we back? I think we're back. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
All right, let's see. All right, well, the National Association is comprised of about 140,000 businesses nationwide. That is from all 50 states, plus the District of Columbia and Puerto Rico. So we have a lot of representation. There are different levels of leadership that's going on. But again, as I did with the state, I want to make sure that you have an understanding of NAHB. And so we kind of have a highlight reel from 2024 of what NAHB was able to accomplish on behalf of our membership. And I'm going to share that one with you.
2024 was a huge year for the National Association of Home Builders and the NAHB Federation. NAHB kicked off 2024 with an innovative energy codes training program created in concert with the Rhode Island Builders Association. With NAHB's support, Rhode Island's Innovative Energy Codes Training Initiative received a $1.6 million grant from the U.S. Department of Energy. In February, NAHB senior officers Carl Harris and Buddy Hughes took NAHB's housing agenda to Capitol Hill, meeting with more than a dozen influential lawmakers in key leadership positions, including House Majority Leader Steve Scalise and Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. More than 76,000 housing professionals filled the Las Vegas Convention Center at the International Builders Show in February. It was the show's highest attendance in 15 years, and you could feel the energy. Attendees took advantage of outstanding IBS education, the chance to see the latest new products, and the best networking opportunities of the year. NAHB's biggest legislative victory of the year occurred in March, when Congress voted to maintain funding for Job Corps. After Congress threatened to entirely eliminate the Job Corps program, lawmakers, thanks largely to the efforts of NAHB, approved Job Corps' funding for $1.76 billion, a major win for the residential construction industry. That major legislative victory in March was followed in April by a massive win in the U.S. Supreme Court. The decision in the case of Sheets v. El Dorado County found that improper impact fees are not made valid just because they're authorized by state legislation. NAHB was very involved in the case for a long time, writing numerous briefs supporting the winning argument. In May, NAHB unveiled its 10-point plan to tame shelter inflation and ease the housing affordability crisis. The plan is an ambitious effort to outline specific actions that policymakers can take to boost new home production and address regulatory excess and other barriers. NAHB's senior leadership and government affairs team took the plan to Capitol Hill, the White House, and other policymakers, and injected the ideas into the mainstream during the critical election season. More than 900 housing professionals attended NAHB's premier grassroots event on Capitol Hill to push for action on energy codes, transformers, and workforce development funding. Senator Steve Daines of Montana and Representative Chuck Edwards of North Carolina spoke to NAHB members during their briefing before they began their Hill visits. In the waning days of June, the Supreme Court delivered one of its most consequential rulings in decades. The court's decision in Loper Bright Enterprises v. Raimondo reins in the federal bureaucracy and reforms the nation's broken regulatory rulemaking process. NAHB filed a friend of the court brief in the case and had sought this outcome for many years. Chairman Carl Harris and First Vice Chairman Buddy Hughes took NAHB's 10-point plan to the Republican and Democratic National Conventions as part of an effort to make housing a key election issue. And more than ever before, both political parties were talking about housing as a key issue for American voters. Hurricanes Helene and Milton left devastation in their wake in September and October. NAHB specialist Jonathan Falk was on the ground in the region after both hurricanes, helping with disaster relief and visiting local homebuilders associations to help them get back on their feet and respond to their members' and communities' needs. November 5th saw one of the most consequential elections in American history. After one of the most bitter and expensive political seasons ever, the American people elected Donald Trump to return to the White House and gave the Republican Party majorities in both the House and Senate. BuildPAC enjoyed tremendous success in its efforts to help elect pro-housing, pro-business candidates to Congress. During the cycle, BuildPAC contributed over $3.1 million to 361 congressional candidates, including almost 40 new members of Congress. In all, 96% of candidates supported by BuildPAC won their races on November 5th. demonstrating the power of NAHB members to shape the outcomes that most affect their businesses. 2024 was a hugely successful year for NAHB and its members. In the United States Congress, the Supreme Court, and in the broader political arena, the NAHB Federation enjoyed major victories that will shape the policy landscape for years to come. The association's membership roll saw a great year, with the Federation gaining more than 5,300 new members in 2024. This marks the first year since the pandemic that membership has grown. And 2024 marked yet another banner year for NAHB member benefits, as members saved more than $40 million through the Member Savings Program. With an expanding lineup of exclusive offers, the program remains dedicated to delivering significant savings to NAHB members in 2025 and beyond. NAHB members look forward to another great year as the association looks to build on the success of the last one. When our members stand together and lift their voices, we do great things.
Great things indeed. It's really something to sit back and watch a video like that and realize how many different things that National gets involved with throughout the course of a year. And it's also important to remember that, you know, there are a lot of staff members up at National. We've got about 175 people that work up there. But everything that happens begins and ends with members like you that get involved and support, that supply their voice, lend their voice to that of National, defining the policy and giving the direction for those staff to implement and make changes. So what are the 5 things that National focuses on? Again, very similar to the state: advocacy, expertise. It's important to recognize in the expertise field, the economic department of National is the primary data source for the Federal Reserve in making decisions on the housing index. So about 20% of gross domestic product derives from residential housing. Our economic team are the ones that survey and generate the primary data used to report to the Fed so that they can make decisions on how to manage the economy. That's an incredible role that is very important, and we take great pride in being able to deliver that knowledge. Educational resources are delivered through NAHB, networking opportunities. You know, time and time again, our delegates that go and they participate at these national meetings come back and tell me, Dan, it was amazing. I made connections there, and they've been some of the most important professional relationships of my career. And you saw something about savings there, $40 million saved by members in 2024, and those programs have only expanded since then. So what does their governance look like? National has annual leadership meetings. Again, they have 3 as well. They have one in the spring, that's our legislative session. They have one in the fall, which is a moving. So the spring one's in DC, the fall one moves, and then the International Builder Show happens around February or March each year. It is housed typically in Las Vegas, but this year in 2026, we're going to be in Orlando one last time. There is a leadership council, and this is the larger of the advisory bodies. They define all of the policy that NAHB will set and establish all of the priorities for the association. Whereas the board of directors, which is a much smaller subset of individuals, they work with staff and executive management to implement the policies defined by the leadership council. So the Leadership Council would be where we are nominating folks to serve, and the Leadership Council meet at the end of each of those 3 meetings, and they determine the path forward and where we're going to go and what we should focus on, and deliver that information to leadership so that it can be implemented. The structure of the NAHB regions are here on the screen now. As you can see, we're in Region D, and that comprises Area 8, which is Arkansas, Mississippi, and Louisiana. Each of these areas has a national representative. So we have one representative that represents all 3 states from Area 8 at National. We also have a representative for Region D that represents us up there, and that's done by a senior officer, in this case, Gary Campbell. And then we also have executive officers have a council. So all of the 1,600 local associations across the country have an executive officer like me, and we all serve on a national executive officer council. And I was elected to serve as a director on the board of directors for the executive officer council representing Region D. And I've just completed my junior year, so I will be moving into my senior year in February when we get to IBS. Voting members, delegates, and regional leadership. This is, comprised of all of the members, those that get involved. As I mentioned, we have state-based voting members. They have the ability to represent the state that they're from, and so some states have more members than others, and they can get an extra member on the board of directors. Delegates comprise the leadership council. We have space for, I believe it is 7 delegates and 2 associate members that can serve in the leadership council representing HBA-GNO. For those that serve a longer period of time, I believe it's 10 years for a life delegate and 20 years of service as a senior life delegate. They're recognized for their service and participation on the leadership council. Again, for the national meetings, I hold a caucus call so that all of our national delegates can get together, discuss the agenda, look at the resolutions that are being lobbied, and talk about the various committees, the strategic opportunities, and the pending business that are coming before us at the upcoming meeting. And it's really kind of to get you prepared for what all is going to happen when we get up there. And every meeting is different, and every meeting has different things that we focus on. NAHB does produce an app, and when you get there, you're going to find that there's an overwhelming number of meetings that go on. And so the app can help you sort through and identify what meetings you want to participate in. Particularly at IBS, it adds all of the education sessions that are going on, and it allows you to choose those meetings, and it will create an agenda for you each day, a personal agenda, and help you find where those meetings are and what time those meetings are occurring to keep you on track and maximize the time that you spend at these meetings. There are key leadership events that include networking receptions, council meetings, our caucus meeting, which is where everybody in our area, so Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, we all get together and talk about our issues before we go into the leadership council meeting, and that is an in-person meeting. And then, of course, the leadership council meeting itself and the board meetings, which are, of course, open to all members to attend. There are an unbelievable amount of presentations in all different areas. The last meeting that I went to, I saw an incredible one from, I went into a committee, which is it's green. Let me see here. What was the name of that committee? It is the Environmental Issues Committee, and one of our members, James Hardy, was in there, and everybody was talking about CO2, and that this is the number we're all looking at for environmental issues. And the point was being made that it costs a lot of CO2 to produce cement siding. And what James Hardy was pointing out is they have studies that show that CO2 is released gradually over the period of time that siding is in place and in functional use. And so over the 20 to 30 years that it's on the side of a building, you almost recoup the amount of CO2 that goes into the production of that material. And so that was eye-opening for not only me, but for several folks that were in that meeting, because you think about the impact of these different issues and how they're going to play out in having a sustainable environment. So lots of interesting and amazing information can come out of it. There are a lot of participatory opportunities to meet folks from all over the country, both peers that are operating businesses of similar size and type as you, but also leaders, government, elected officials, as well as insightful commenters and others that have influence within our industry. There's a lot of terms that go on, and we have an entire booklet that covers preparing and participating in these events. But I wanted to point out that we also host a dinner. So when we have our delegation go out for HBA-GNO, we do host a dinner, and it gives our delegation an opportunity to connect and be sure that we're having a good time and making sure that everybody is being as effective as they can while also enjoying their time away at these different events. In addition, our state association hosts a social function at each meeting where all members are invited. So there are some opportunities. There's a lot of programming that NAHB puts together, but there are also some things that we're doing and our state association is doing as well. I've been mentioning a few different committees. There are a wide range of committees, and they are focused on many different things. Just let me give you a few of them here. There's an associates committee, a budget finance committee, there's a business management and information technology committee, climate risk and sustainability, construction codes and standards. You know, one of our life directors, Steve Albert, spent almost 20 years on the on the construction codes and standards committee. And these guys, you know, they work with ICC in defining and evaluating proposals for codes. And those proposals come from special interests of every different industry you can imagine. And so it's important to put perspective on that process. There's construction liability risk management, building materials committee, construction safety and health committee. They were talking about at the last meeting new OSHA regulations that are seeking to have cool climate controlled spaces on all job sites where the temperature reaches 90 degrees or higher. Well, that's 80% of the work time in our area. So that would have a huge impact on us. So we're watching that very closely. Convention and Meetings Committee deals with IBS, custom home builders, the Design Committee, Education Committee, Environmental Issues, Federal Government Affairs, Housing Finance. There are so many. There's even a council. We've got several different councils that are involved as well. And one of those is the Building Systems Council. I had an interesting time in that council meeting because they talk about concrete homes like ICF. They talk about timber and log and, of course, modular construction techniques that are beginning to take place. Of course, everybody was wanting to know about the 3D printed homes that they were putting up in Austin. So amazing stuff that is discussed, amazing opportunities to learn about so many different things going on in our industry, and the insight that you can pick up just by being at these meetings to bring back and to help you cultivate and develop the competitive advantage for your own businesses is immense. But while you're there, you have this extraordinary opportunity to represent our industry as it exists in Southeast Louisiana at the national level and lend your voice to help us find ways to ensure that we're not, you know, some regulation is necessary, but regulatory statutes now comprise 25% of the cost of building a home today. Some of those things are important. Others, maybe not so much. And so it's always important to have folks there representing the industry. I always think about the engineer that builds the car, and they put this gigantic engine inside that car, and to change the number 3 spark plug, you got to undo the engine mounting bolt and jack up the engine just to get the spark plug out. And I think, how can an engineer have done this? And the answer is well, they've never worked on this car before. And so that's where you come in. By volunteering and getting involved and going out and representing us at this level, we help the engineers understand what it means to work on that car. So our national meetings for the 2026 service cycle, and I want to point out, it does not begin with IBS, it ends with IBS. So the upcoming IBS meeting in February is the conclusion of the 2025 service year. So for those interested in NAHB service for the 2026 cycle, it begins with our legislative conference at the Spring Leadership Meeting in DC on June 9th. It's a little bit longer because the first 2 days deal with the legislative conference and the last 2 days deal with the Spring Leadership Meeting. Our Fall Leadership Meeting in 2026 will be in Detroit, Michigan. It will be on October 6, 7, and 8. So it's a shorter meeting. And then our winter leadership meeting, or IBS, the International Builder Show, will be back in Vegas in 2027, and that will be January 30th to February 4th. So what happens there is we have some high-level meetings on the 30th for national representatives. On the 31st, there will be the beginning of committee meetings. And then February 1st, 2nd, and 3rd is IBS, and our Leadership Council meeting. Our leadership happens on the final day of the event on the 4th, and that'll be in Vegas. So let me pause there and stop sharing for a moment. And well, I tell you what, let me come to this last one here, this last slide here. Summary and key takeaways. So what's the idea of serving either at local or state? Well, the first is to be a leader in your industry. I mean, a seat at the table is what gives you the opportunity to learn in ways that can help you grow your business, but also voice the concerns that are often overlooked. It's also a way to enhance your business, to build your network, to meet folks that you would otherwise have a very difficult time connecting with. But everybody is there from our industry. It's a great opportunity to meet and build those relationships nationwide. There's something mentioned called the 20 Club, and the 20 Club is an opportunity where builders in the same area, so it may be new construction, it might be modular construction, it might be small or track or custom, but they collect 20 builders that are in the similar field and of the similar size, and they exchange information and learn from each other. And it's an amazing program. One of our directors, Larry Kornman, participated in the 20 Club. He said it was the most impactful thing that has ever happened to his business, and he's a pretty big builder around these parts. So there are some great opportunities to be a leader, enhance your business, build your network, and grow both personally and professionally. So with that, oops, there we go. I'm going to get back, stop that sharing there. With that, let me open it up to see if there's any questions or thoughts about serving at the national level with our National Association of Home Builders. Well, there it is again. I think, I don't know if Dave Anderson is there. He served as a national director once before. Dave, are you there? I think we might have lost Dave Anderson. I don't see him on the list there. Mac's been out to some of those meetings too. You want to share anything about national?
It is so different. It's cool to see the different levels coming all together. I've started very local, obviously, and then I switched jobs, and then it's just kind of grown from there for me personally. Brand and company recognition wise is a small portion of why to get involved. On a local level, it's great to get your name out there. I'm speaking from a vendor aspect or an associate aspect, not necessarily a builder, but just the connections that you make locally to promote your business are great. But as you go up to state and national, just the national connections that you get. I mean, there's people that have been doing this for many, many years that can travel to almost anywhere and at any point and call someone up that they met at NAHB and hey, let's get lunch, or hey, what can we do for what do you recommend we do in this area? We're in your part of town, but I'm a big grow your network person, and things like this are just there's always something to learn. You don't know what you don't know until you learn it. Just to learn from other people and get new aspects, then you can turn around and bring them back to your local and bring them back to your state. It's just kind of a cool full circle moment for me.
Yeah, that's an amazing insight right there. I see Gerald has his hands up. He's chomping at the bit to tell us about his experience over the last 4 years.
Well, I was just going to say one of the things is if you've never been to IBS, it is an amazing show. You get to talk to manufacturers and people that you only hear about, and you get to talk to them on a personal level so you can make some deals with them. But the product that you see, because not every showroom will bring that stuff here, so you get to see it on a first-hand basis. And it has been an eye-opening experience. Wear comfortable shoes because it is a massive show. So you really have to map it out. And again, just like what Dan said, there's so many different committees that you can go in that you don't even have to be part of, but just to go sit and listen, and you can take that information back, just like what Mackenzie was saying. It's eye-opening, and it's I don't know how they compress it all in 3 days. It really should be a little more, but I don't think anybody could take it to be any longer. But it is a great opportunity.
Yeah, IBS is absolutely amazing. Not only do they have 1 million square feet of exhibitor space, they have an incredibly robust education program on classes of every different kind that you can imagine. And it's really unbelievable what they can deliver there. And then, so that's across the 3 days with IBS. And then, of course, each of the leadership meetings, they have all of those committees and councils. Just attending and being a part of them are amazing, and you can get a huge amount of information there as well. Well, any questions or anything that you'd like to add to that?
In a few minutes. I probably won't get over there.
Well, I want to thank you for taking the time to listen. If you are interested, we're going to be soliciting nominations over the course of the next couple of weeks for people that are interested. So that you know, we ask that our councils, we have local councils at the HBAGNO, which include the Remodelers Council, the Multifamily Council, the Associates Council, our Sales and Marketing Council, and our, who am I missing? I'm missing one, right? No, I'm sorry, we have the 4. Multifamily, Sales and Marketing, Professional Women in Building, that's the other one. We ask that they put forth a nomination to represent their individual councils at the national level. But all of the nominations that come in are put together into a pool, and the incoming president-elect, which is Marcus Campo, will review the nominations in consultation with the executive committee and make his selections in time. So the short deadline is for Louisiana, so serving at LHBA, we've got to get those nominations in relatively quickly in the first half of November. And then we have a little bit more time for national. I think we have until the end of December to get those in. But if it is of interest to you to take advantage of this opportunity and represent our industry at the state level or at the national level, please let me know. Our opportunities at the associate level are a little more limited, but we do have those opportunities, and we would love to see you get involved. We have more spots that are available for builders. By the very nature of the association, it is a builders association, so they reserve more of those slots for builder members than they do for associates. But look, builders can't do anything without the support of those providing the products and services that make residential housing work. Well, all right. With that, then I'm going to close you out with one last video here. Let me see if I can do
Dan,
that. Yeah.
Dan, I would like to say thank you for inviting me to be part of this session. And I do believe it is a tremendous opportunity, both on the state level and the national level. So I appreciate it. And, the main thing is that to participate, you want to make sure that you're really giving something back. So that's for me, my own reservation. And I suspect maybe for others too. But I do appreciate this invitation.
Absolutely.
Very, very good of you. Thank you.
I'm going to close out with a quick video here from our IBS, I think.
Just the amount of people, it's crazy. The industry is here, all in one place.
There's so many beautiful products here.
You can put your hands on the product and you can be on the cutting edge of your industry.
Every time I come here, I'm always amazed by something.
The education is best in class.
Lots of expertise.
This place is full of giants in the industry.
This is where we learn everything new and cool.
And there's no better place than this show for us to meet every pro, every specialty, and do it all here.
Network, innovate, see every square inch that you can. What better place to be?
Well, with that, I'm going to close out. I'm going to wish you a happy, what is today? Wednesday. I've lost track. Happy Wednesday. I hope you get an opportunity to take advantage of this gorgeous weather that we have out there today. And thank you so much for your membership and for doing what you do for residential housing.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate your invitation.
You got the claps. That was fun.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you. Y'all have a good one.